House Bill 1866 isn't about safety, it's about stripping rights. This is not about crime prevention. It's politics dressed up as safety, and it's a direct attack on the Second Amendment.
I'll tell you exactly why we're here. If you understand the preamble to Pennsylvania's Constitution, you would understand that the very primary and only reason we are here are to defend the rights listed in the Declaration of Rights. Article 1, Section 1, which again, Madam Speaker, states, declares the right of the citizens to bear arms, not arms that you think are safe, to bear arms, not arms that you think aren't scary, to bear arms, arms that match the arms of the power of government.
Heard a lot of people saying that our founders wanted us to have the Second Amendment in case there's a tyrannical government for whom we need to take up arms. I am not suggesting, as others have, that we should do that, Madam Speaker. In fact, I've constantly supported gun safety and gun reform in this building. But for people who want to pretend that they are no tread on me, don't tread on me, well, I would make you aware there's a guy I know who's treading, and you all never have anything to say about it. So save me your self-righteous speeches about standing up for tyranny when you do nothing to stand up for tyranny consistently and constantly.
Madam Speaker.
The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Bill 1866, printers number 2315, on page 3 of Supplemental Calendar A. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? The clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill adds machine gun conversion devices to the list of prohibited offensive weapons.
I am advancing this bill in honor of a great hero, fallen police chief Justin McIntyre, who was a beloved and tireless public servant in his hometown of Brackenridge Borough, a community that I have the honor of representing. His family is watching us from home today. Chief McIntyre was tragically gunned down and killed in January. Should I wait? Chief McIntyre was tragically gunned down and killed in his hometown in January 2023 in the line of duty, feet from his family's home. The shooter then fled into a terrified community and went on to shoot at Pittsburgh police with a machine gun conversion device jammed into his Glock, firing 900 rounds a minute at police in an uncontrolled spray of bullets. Can you imagine 900 bullets a minute? I want to very clearly articulate what a machine gun conversion device is so that members go into this vote clear-eyed. These are not bump stocks. These are not pistol braces used by disabled people. These are small pieces of metal, sometimes plastic, often 3D printed, about the size of a Lego. By interfering with the gun's firing mechanism, these devices allow a shooter to fire a staggering array of bullets with a single pull of the trigger. Here is a list of the 16 municipalities that I represent. The police chief in every single one supports a state-level law on these devices so that they can enforce at the local level, because they can't now. You know who else supports a state-level law on these things? Glock. Here is their letter. So do the DAs. Here is theirs. Every single police officer that I know wants a state-level ban on these devices. That is likely true of every police officer that you know. Our police should not be up against these things. It is not right. How can we say that we support police and then turn them out on the streets to face something like this? To face 900 bullets a minute? The answer is that you cannot say that you support the police if you would knowingly subject them to this hell. For the record, I am a gun owner. I carry a gun. I will use my gun if I need to. I respect the Second Amendment. This bill does not violate the Second Amendment. These are modifiers that turn a Glock into a machine gun, making them dangerous and unusual. The Supreme Court has clearly and consistently ruled on dangerous and unusual. The Supreme Court has clearly stated that dangerous and unusual is not protected by the Second Amendment.
Madam Speaker, as our rules prohibit, I certainly would not question the motives of any of our esteemed colleagues in this body. But Madam Speaker, I do find myself confused listening to 2 days now of us putting bills up for consideration that don't decimate the Second Amendment, but that create reasonable, common sense, and deeply supported public policy being requested by members of our community. We have one such bill in front of us today. One supported, as was said by the maker of the bill, by law enforcement, by district attorneys, even by gun manufacturers. So with all of that being true, Madam Speaker, I do find myself confused at some of the comments that have been made. We hear consistently about support of law enforcement, about needing more police on the streets. And yet, we're going to knowingly vote for a piece of legislation or vote against a piece of legislation that would make life more difficult for our law enforcement officers. So I'm trying to understand that cognitive dissonance. We have people who spoke about needing to support the Constitution and spoke about recent precedents such as Bruin. I would quote the rather progressive Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, who recently just said, I don't think any of these cases that have been decided are gospel. Precedent, he went on to say, should be respectful of our legal traditions and of our country and laws and be based on something, not just something somebody dreamt up. And I think it is fair to say that it is dreamt up, that our founders could even conceive of the types of weaponry that is easily accessible to individuals with no training and with ill will in our communities. They couldn't conceive of it. And so the idea that we are hopeless because of the Second Amendment to address even the most egregious examples that have been shared today, I can't understand that, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, I hear folks say that, well, criminals don't follow the law, so we shouldn't pass any laws. If that is true, Madam Speaker, we're out of a job. We have no reason to be here. We should not have just passed the multiple pieces of legislation in this session and previous sessions. We create new crimes in this building like some folks change their socks. But not on this issue. That doesn't make sense to me, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I hear people talk about the crime in the city of the first class, and then representatives elected from the city of the first class come here with serious solutions to the challenges facing our communities, and yet we have people who know nothing about the city of the first class who vote against the solutions that we are putting forward. And Madam Speaker, I heard a lot of people talk about sin yesterday. And we don't have a gun problem, we have a sin problem. I agree, we do have a sin problem. It's a sin to knowingly let people die when we could do something to stop it. That's a sin. It's a sin to sit on our hands and act like there's nothing we can do when people are being slaughtered in our streets. That is a sin. And so, listen, I know we have different iterations and translations of the great texts, but the King James Version that I know, that Bible speaks a lot about helping the least of these, speaks a lot about making sure we're helping the poor and infirmed, speaks a lot about using the word of God as a shield, not a sword. So we may attend different services, but the God that I know and the faith that I practice says that we ought to do something about the murder of police officers and individuals in our street, especially when we have the ability to do so. And the great representative from Allegheny County has given us a chance to do so. For people who want to pretend that they are no tread on me, don't tread on me, well, I would make you aware there's a guy I know who's treading, and you all never have anything to say about it. So save me your self-righteous speeches about standing up for tyranny when you do nothing to stand up for tyranny consistently and constantly.
Madam Speaker, point of order.
For what purpose does the leader rise? Sergeant at Arms, clear the aisles.